Once a young karting prodigy living in the slums of the United Kingdom and now a 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton is more than just a Formula One driver. But behind the fame and trophies, there's way more to his story. From surprising habits, record-shattering achievements, loads of challenges, to almost having to stop racing because of his poor dad, these are 20 things you didn't know about Lewis Hamilton. Let's kick things off with little Lewis, barely out of diapers and already dreaming of racing fast cars. Born on January 7, 1985, in Stevenage, England, Hamilton was named after the Olympic sprinter Carl Lewis. So yes, they were setting the bar high from birth. But that's not the only thing his parents did to encourage his passion for racing. At the tender age of 6, his dad Anthony gave him a radio-controlled car. He was driving that toy all around the house and probably slept with that toy too. However, his early obsession with racing kept growing. His dad noticed something, that little Lewis was really good at it, so he decided to help his son pursue his obsession. Just 2 years later, at 8 years old, Hamilton was already behind the wheel of his first go-kart. His dad, working for British Railways at the time, had to take on 2 extra jobs just to afford it. But that investment surely paid off because by 1995, at 10 years old, Hamilton was already a karting champion. He even went ahead and won it again the next year. And he wasn't afraid to shoot his shot, because in 1995, after winning the British Karting Championship, 10-year-old Lewis Hamilton was invited to the awards ceremony, which had all kinds of racing big shots. Little Lewis walked up to Ron Dennis, the big boss of McLaren Formula One team, and he just said to him, "Hello, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and one day I want to be racing your cars." Somehow that did the job, and Dennis must have been impressed, because 3 years later, McLaren signed Hamilton to their young driver program. If you're loving this video, make sure to subscribe. Now back to the video. Now, you might think life was really easy for young Lewis, but that certainly wasn't the case. In school, he faced bullying and racism, but instead of letting it break him, he decided to toughen up. At just 5 years old, Hamilton started taking karate classes. Inspired by Bruce Lee, he saw it as a way to build confidence and protect himself. In a 2017 interview, he admitted it took until he was about 14 or 15 before he really felt confident enough to stand up for himself. And before he was burning rubber on real tracks, Hamilton was dominating in a different arena: remote-controlled car racing. In 1992, at just 7 years old, he appeared on the British TV show Blue Peter, competing in an RC race. And guess what? He won. This childhood hobby stuck with him. Fast forward to 2022, during the Japanese Grand Prix weekend, Hamilton and fellow F1 driver Esteban Ocon took a break from their race prep to have a little RC car showdown in the Suzuka pit lane. He was also the youngest driver to catch an F1 team's eye. Most racers spend years grinding through various categories before they even get a sniff of F1, but not him. In 1997, at just 12 years old, Hamilton signed a contract with McLaren. Let that sink in for a moment. 12 years old. He became the youngest driver ever to be approached by an F1 team. However, judging by that, you might think that Hamilton spent all his time at school daydreaming about racing lines and pit stops. But nope, he was actually pretty good at other sports too. At the John Henry Newman School in Stevenage, known as the Talent Factory of Hitchin Road, Hamilton was also really good on the cricket pitch and the football field. He even played on the school football team alongside Ashley Young. Yeah, that Ashley Young, the one who went on to play for Manchester United and Inter Milan. In a parallel dimension, we might have been talking about Hamilton, the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, instead of the 7-time F1 champion. Now, you'd think a guy who regularly hurtles around tracks at over 200 miles per hour wouldn't be scared of anything, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Lewis Hamilton, the fearless F1 driver, has a pretty intense fear of sharks. Specifically, he's terrified of being eaten alive by a great white. This fear came to light when Hamilton, an avid surfer, was planning to catch some waves before the Australian Grand Prix. He originally wanted to surf in Australia, but changed his plans because of the higher chance of encountering sharks in Australian waters. He ended up choosing Byron Bay instead, but even there, his fear wasn't far from his mind. He said, "I wanted to do it here, but I just couldn't find a netted area to go to. I just can't go where there are sharks, man." So next time you see Hamilton fearlessly overtaking on a dangerous corner, remember, everyone's got their kryptonite. For me, it's tiny bugs, but for Hamilton, it's a big fish with lots of teeth. He's also a man of faith. Raised as a Roman Catholic, he considers himself a devout Christian. In fact, his faith plays a big role in his racing. Hamilton wears a cross during all his races and has been known to say he believes he has the hand of God over him when he's racing in Formula One. For years, Lewis Hamilton's yellow helmet was as much a part of his image as his racing suits and trophies. But did you know there was a practical reason behind that bright color? Hamilton's father painted the helmet yellow so he could easily spot his son among the other kart racers. Smart move, right? When you're watching a bunch of tiny karts zooming around a track, you want to know which one is your kid. But in a significant change, Hamilton later switched his helmet design from yellow to white with red stripes. It was a big deal for fans who had gotten used to spotting that flash of yellow on the track. Now, here's a crazy stat for you. Lewis Hamilton is the only driver to win at least one race in every Formula One season he has competed in. That's right, every single season since his debut in 2007, he stood on the top step of the podium at least once. He's also extended his own record for consecutive seasons with a podium finish to 18. 18 seasons of consistently being one of the top 3 drivers. That's not just good, that's insane. And speaking of breaking records, for years, Michael Schumacher's record of 91 Grand Prix victories seemed untouchable. It was the Mount Everest of Formula One. Everyone knew it was there, but no one really thought they'd see anyone reach the summit until Hamilton came along. As of 2024, he had racked up 105 Grand Prix victories, smashing Schumacher's record and setting a new benchmark for excellence in the sport. But if you really want to hear something even more unbelievable, well, here it is. Lewis Hamilton has a secret identity. He's actually a singer and songwriter. For over a decade, Hamilton has been secretly involved in the music industry. In 2018, he revealed that he had collaborated with Christina Aguilera on the song Pipe from her album Liberation. He had been working under the pseudonym XNDA, keeping his musical pursuits on the down low. Why? Well, Hamilton shared that music has been a form of escape for him, allowing him to express himself in a different way from racing. And you've got to admit, that's pretty unexpected. Cool, but definitely unexpected. So he's a driver, singer, songwriter, and is there anything else? In 2021, he added another title to his name. He was knighted in the New Year Honors List, becoming Sir Lewis Hamilton, and he's only the 4th F1 driver to receive this honor, joining Sir Jack Brabham, Sir Sterling Moss, and Sir Jackie Stewart. But unlike them, he's the first one to receive it while still actively racing. Alright, let's talk about money. Because when you're as good at your job as Lewis Hamilton is, you tend to make a pretty penny. In 2018, he signed a 2-year contract with Mercedes worth up to £40 million per year. That made him the highest paid driver in Formula One history at the time. But it's not just his racing salary that's impressive. In 2020, Hamilton was named Britain's wealthiest sports star in the Sunday Times Rich List. His wealth increased by £37 million in a single year, reaching £224 million. That made him the wealthiest sports person in the list's 32-year history. And as of 2024, Hamilton's net worth is estimated at $69 million. Now, you might think with all that money, Hamilton would be out there buying solid gold toilets or something, but nope, he's actually got a pretty big heart when it comes to giving back. Back in 2007, he sold his kart for £42,100. And what did he do with all that cash? He donated every single penny to Tommy's, a charity that funds research into miscarriage, stillbirth, and premature birth. Also, Lewis Hamilton almost made his Formula One debut much earlier, and with a completely different team. In 2004, after winning the Formula 3 Bahrain Super Prix, the Williams team wanted to sign him up. But there was a problem. BMW, who was supplying engines to Williams at the time, refused to support Hamilton's career. That's a missed opportunity. I bet BMW is still kicking themselves over that decision. He's fast on the track, but unfortunately, he's just as quick off of it, and that's gotten him into some trouble. In December 2007, while in France, and again just before the 2010 Australian Grand Prix, Hamilton was ticketed for speeding. But can you really blame the guy? I guess when you're used to going 200 miles per hour, it's hard to keep it under the speed limit on regular roads. In 2012, Hamilton made headlines again, but for reasons that had nothing to do with racing. He decided to move to Monaco, that tiny little country on the French Riviera that just happens to be a well-known tax haven. Now, Hamilton said he moved for privacy reasons and to escape the UK's high taxes, but as you can imagine, not everyone was thrilled with this decision. The British media had a field day accusing Hamilton of tax avoidance, but Hamilton stood his ground. 2015 was a big year for Lewis Hamilton. On October 25th, he won the United States Grand Prix, securing his third World Drivers' Championship, and he did it with 3 races still left in the season. This victory put Hamilton in some pretty elite company. He joined the likes of Jack Brabham, Jackie Stewart, Nelson Piquet, and Ayrton Senna in the Triple World Champion Club. But it wasn't just that he won, it was how he won. Hamilton racked up 381 points that season, winning by a margin of 67 points. He had 10 race wins, 8 fastest laps, 11 pole positions, and 17 podium finishes. And he did all that in just 19 races. It was clear that Hamilton wasn't just winning, he was redefining what it meant to dominate in Formula One. Finally, after that third championship, Hamilton didn't slow down. He kept pushing, kept improving, kept winning. In 2017, he clinched his 4th world title at the Mexican Grand Prix. The next year, 2018, he didn't just win his 5th championship, he set a new record for points in a season with 408. But he wasn't done yet. In 2019 and 2020, Hamilton won 2 more championships, bringing his total to 7 and equaling the record set by Michael Schumacher. 7 world championships. That's a level of success that most drivers can only dream of. If you loved this video, I'm sure you will love the ones on the screen.